morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us again for another iheartsf podcast. I'm very excited to say we just earned our trademark for the name in a podcast form, so that is very exciting. That is not an easy accomplishment, and we're here today for a new one in the Outer Sunset at Studio by Live Better, and I'm very excited to introduce Sahar and Saad and Danae, my favorite teacher. And today we're going to be talking about all the great things that they do here at Studio by Live Better, how I found it, my own journey a little bit in yoga and practice of self-love and self-care, and what they do here, because it's very different. iHeartSF podcast is something that I wanted to shine a light on in San Francisco, all the great things that we do here. In San Francisco, we've had a lot of negativity and, really hard press on us. And, people come and they visit for the iconic landmarks and the different things around here, but they stay for the quirky. And here in the Outer Sunset at Studio by Live Better has definitely some quirks to it that are definitely different than the yoga studios that are out here. And I've been practicing for about 6 years now. I got into yoga in a kind of an interesting way. I actually am really big on boxing and kettlebells, some really strong workouts. And my trainer said to me, you could do yoga and help with your workouts and your sleeping and all of that stuff. And he said, but Rosemary, it's going to be kind of hard for you because you have to be quiet the whole time. And I was like, challenge accepted. So I started, getting into yoga. I didn't know anything about it. And it started becoming a time for me once a week where it was just for me. I put my phone on silence. I have 3 kids, and they're always on top of me asking me for something. And I started making it once a week just for me, an hour. I had to learn to be quiet during it. I had to learn to quiet my mind, which actually taught me, a lot of different things about myself. When you quiet your mind and you start really focusing on yourself, and it can lead to some really big changes in perspective of different situations in your life. And that's what happened to me throughout, the 6 years. And then when I found you guys, it kind of changed in a whole different way, because you guys do it very different here. And that's kind of what I wanted to bring up, because you guys are psychotherapists.
Yes.
So please tell us all about this beautiful studio and,
So as with a lot of things in life, this was kind of like a journey almost. It kind of it happened in the end when it was supposed to happen, but it was brewing for a while. And finding the right spot, for example, or having the capacity to do something, or even the gumption, let's say, to take the first step.
Yeah, getting out of your comfort zone.
Yes, all those things had to come together for this to happen. And one of the biggest things for us was, as psychotherapists, we have clients similarly who have stressful lives. I myself am a trauma therapist. So a lot of my clients, and I do a lot of work based on somatic philosophy as well. So a lot of my clients were having signs and symptoms in their body. As they're talking about things, you can see them emoting through their body, and you would be like, okay, how do we get this out? Help you get this out of the process. And you would send them to yoga classes, and they would come back being a little bit stressed out, right?
From yoga class.
From yoga class.
Right.
Because a lot of yoga classes, in my opinion, were exercise based.
That's exactly what I found in the different ones. Well, I've tried lots of different studios, and they felt like exercise. I actually left one because it was so crowded. I couldn't do it.
I would send my clients who have anxiety or who have histories that or even for stress management, and cross my fingers and be like, I hope they get the right class, the right teacher, because that I feel is rare. But it is what brought us to yoga as well. What we experienced from a good teacher, a good class, and kind of firsthand.
And you brought that here.
Yeah, because then I got trained myself, because I was like, oh my gosh, it's so good to integrate this with people who are not great with the verbals, and also the somatic work that that we can do in the room with our clients. And so I integrated that when I was in Philadelphia. Not so much here. This is when Best Beast was born, 4 years ago. So
Oh, so you're a transplant from San Francisco.
Well, I was born here, but I didn't grow up here as an adult.
Okay, so you're back here and you want to give back to
Yes.
the city, something that you've practiced somewhere else. You talk about somatic yoga. So tell us more about that.
So for example, let's just say somebody has a trigger that causes them to re-experience the traumatic things that they went through. Sometimes these experiences can be like person can feel like they're actually there. They can re-experience them again, as if it's like you're watching a movie and there's another screen on top of it, right? Through a different lens. So that can happen. In a lot of other cases, you just feel it in your body. So your breathing will change, your posture will change.
I used to say my insides when I didn't have the word to say my insides are.
Yes.
And this just.
Right, and that was the whole thing, to kind of like help people bring that out in a more safe space, and
especially when you're allowed to breathe. Like if you're going boom, 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 boom in your exercise, you're not getting enough time to connect your breath or for the things to even come up.
Yeah.
You know, so the slow and Janae could probably speak to that because she's the yoga person. But you know, it's true. Yeah, when you take those deep breaths, things do come up. And in a yoga class, you get to work through that discomfort from going to that place and then arriving at a safe place, and that's kind of where the magic happens.
That's right.
The rewiring.
Yeah.
That.
Like literally the hope
It
is that like with giving this space, like people can reconnect with their breath again, their inner self again.
Yeah.
So when it happens again outside, you know how to regulate.
To deal with it. Yeah.
So you can take something outside in your real life, be it work, be it relationships, whatever, walking down the street.
Absolutely.
So you can take.
I take that breathing every day, you know, the slow down when I'm having a little bit of asthma attacks. If I can't get my inhaler to work, I do. I gag a lot, you know, when I breathe too, you know, with the asthma attacks and stuff. And it's been the yoga moves, just and the slowing down really had got me to calm down.
And the science is there too with meditation, right? 5 to 10 minutes a day is going to change your brain. So you hear people, when I get them to meditate, obviously a lot of people are very nervous to start, so like with the right guidance to coach them through it. And then when they get there, they're like, you know, I had this argument with my mom, but I felt like I was outside of it, not in it. And I'm like, that's
Detached.
Yeah, that detachment, exactly. Yeah, and you don't have to be in a situation to start practicing. These classes are what, you know, kind of prep the body to respond and not react.
No, I agree with that 100%. And, you know, you touched on something, you said it was the teachers that you have that are so important. And, you know, we're all teachers in different ways. I taught kindergarten, you taught dance and yoga, and you guys teach people how to be better, live better. And, you know, we can all learn from somebody, and it's your instructors here. You know, I do have my favorite, but there are all your instructors I've taken actually probably every single one of them, and they're all very in their own way belong here. You know, just like podcasts are a dime a dozen, you know, I'd say yoga teachers are a dime a dozen, you know, but when you find the right one and you find the right place to really allow to be yourself, because in my own journey, it's taken me a long time. I'll be 52 this year, and you know, to live without judgment is not easy to find in this world, and this is a very safe place, and I really want to put that out there. But Danae, you know, maybe you could tell us, you know, what do you do with your students? You know, you've been doing this for 21 years now, right?
Yes, teaching for 21 years.
And I've been told to be quiet in yoga class, but not in your yoga class. I mean, we have a really like.
I'm different.
Yes, tell us about the difference.
I bring the humor for sure.
Yeah.
I think humor is a good gateway for people to feel more at ease and have some comfort. So for me, yoga is absolutely a sacred practice, but that doesn't mean it has to be serious and uptight. So the humor helps to allow people to feel a little more at ease, perhaps. And yes, this came up in a class that we experienced earlier today, where I often pose a question to the students, and most of the time I don't get a response because they don't know that it is okay to have a dialogue as long as the question is centered around the actual practice, right? So if I'm asking, is this landing? How are you feeling? I am seeking a response, and I, you know, even go so far to illustrate the point that what you're doing for dinner later on tonight, or who you're dating, you can tell me later, or never at all, actually. But if it's related to what's coming up in the class, yeah, let's have a moment where we dissect it and discover how to solve it in the moment, versus you roll up your mat, you walk out, you forget about it until the next time, or maybe completely you forget about it. We can address it in the moment. But I wanted to circle back to something that was shared about earlier, and what came up for me was managing reactivity and responses. And so one of the greatest gifts of yoga is not only what you're learning on the mat, but what you then take out with you into the real world, as they say, the quote unquote real world, right? And so as you are already finding your breath as the gateway to help calm yourself down, and in therapy, offering strategy, like that's what we want. So it's not just happening here in the room, but it's a living practice. Yoga is a living practice.
Connecting a lot of things that we do, we're kind of in a dissociated manner, like how we eat or how we do things, you know.
Mindfulness.
Exactly.
Yes. Oh, very important. And just taking that, I mean, you guys are all experts on all that, and what I take from it is just 1 hour a day or a week or a couple times a week to show up for yourself and take that time, that mindfulness, because, you know, like they say with the airplane thing, you cannot help the person next to you. And as mothers, as women, as people who are just more, you know, aware, you know, givers, any person who's out there giving always to the other, you know, you get to a point where you just, like, for me, I felt like I was sinking in quicksand, and I just had to say enough. And so with yoga or with, you know, meditation, you're talking about any time that I take for myself, it gives me a chance to be able to show up better in the world for the people around me, you know. And you guys do different here. You give so many classes. I mean, your one class, you want to talk about that one? The dance class? I think this is great.
Shakerasa?
Shakerasa.
Yeah, please.
Not patent pending. Yeah, so Shakerasa is this creation of my heart, you know, this offering of my heart. And it stems from my passion for yoga as well as dance, my belief that it's for all, right? Yoga is for all, and so is dance. And, you know, every culture on the planet has a movement form, a dance form. And so it's not dance where we have, you know, kicking our legs so high or, you know, flawless pirouettes. It's more about expression and creativity and creating a safe space. And that offering was born from a discussion of people wanting to move freely and creatively, but without substances. You know, there are other ways of, you know, dancing out in public, but the substances are a overbearing factor for a lot of people. And so in a yoga studio, we are not going to have substances. We are going to be free and clear of that. And so it's yoga, it's dance, and it's also chanting mantra. Mantra is more than home, right? It is the sacred sound. And you can either chant along or you can listen, and you can just feel the vibrations in the body. So yeah, that's one of my most beloved offerings.
It's very important. I do hear from clients who tell me that, you know, they want to look for social spaces in the evening that is not surrounded by drinking or not surrounded by, you know, other things. And so dancing is one of them, right? If you're going to be somewhere and dancing, you're probably, you know, and so this is...
No, I love that. Well, that's the thing, is you guys offer so many different types of classes here. You don't just get yoga here, and you don't just get yoga in a format where it's, you know,
it's more than a practice.
Yeah, it's more than a practice. I mean, there are other classes, you know, your sign outside says meditation, yoga, Pilates. I mean,
and with, like, I think we have to give credit to Sahar here for this, because with, like, she picked the right people. And that was the most important thing for us, finding the right people, because of course you can simply go by how many hours you have on a certification, but the certification doesn't give you the person. And we wanted the person to vibe with us, to gel with what we're trying to do, and really be on board. We don't want anybody who's here who's trying to, like, fake it. We want people who actually believe in this. And do a class exactly, and like do a class a certain way. Like, for example, in our classes, teachers will give, like, multiple variations of the same pose for different levels. We are not trying to aim for, like, a body type. Like, we don't have mirrors in this space.
No, which
is
I love actually, the space is actually itself, you know, is something that's pretty amazing itself, because it's simple. There's no, how do you say,
Absolutely.
gimmick to it. You know, unfortunately, there's a lot of people who have a gimmick to their spaces. I just am, I really,
I think it was the first time where we were aligned. We put in many colors here, making patches on the wall, and then, but in our minds, we've connected on the same thing, and everything, the way it was just falling together, we're like, this is meant to be.
yeah.
It's all intentional here.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
Absolutely.
such is life, right?
Right.
I mean, it's not, you know, it's not to you, it's for you, everything that happens, so.
Yeah. No, like everything was so like well, I'm walking this space and I wanted this space because when you walk in, it like caves in on you.
Yes.
Becoming darker at the end. We come from, supposedly by science, we come from cave people, right? All of us. So it's inherently secures us.
I like, okay, all right, I like that perspective.
Looking for the
I like that
capsule.
perspective, you know,
And
I love that.
everything, like, you know, the shelving, the flooring,
Yeah,
the
sawdust.
grass.
Oh, and it's all, I mean, so well
Handmade, but
done.
also with, I wanted to do handmade because again, it's like a part of you that's going into
Putting
this.
your heart into it.
Right, and I feel I can feel that. If other people don't, that's fine. I'm biased to it.
I agree, no, it's your second home and you want it to be comfortable for you, and the location you have is pretty amazing. One thing that I don't know if you realized when you came back to this area and you put this space here with the way they closed down the highway. You know, I used to drive down the highway when I was a kid.
Same.
You know, born and raised in the Sunset, 41st and Slow, and it's like a beach town around here now. I don't care what the politics are on there. I love it. I'm so happy about Sunset Dunes, and I think it just made all the businesses and just the atmosphere in general. I mean, you know, it's beautiful.
It
You
is.
know, and you're 2 blocks from the
I
beach.
know, that's why it's like it was meant to be, because we did have a couple
Honestly.
other leases that Saad was trying to get, and those weren't really working.
Panning out.
And the way this happened, it was so quick, and
Yeah.
ready
Yeah.
to stop for me. This
Exactly.
happened. Yeah.
The universe just opens
Exactly.
up.
I was
I
like,
mean,
why is this so easy? Why is this happening so easy? And
because it was supposed to. Exactly. Can you imagine, you know, coming here, taking a nice, you know, class and then walking out a couple blocks out to the beach? You've got, you know, food all around you. You got everything. I mean, you guys are in the most perfect location to just really take yourself to another level. I think this is a great place for people to either start their journey, you know, to self-care and self-love, continue on their journey, learn more about themselves with the great teachers here, because I promise you, all the teachers have something to share with you that, you know, if you are in the right mind space, can really take from it and grow with it.
I do want to say, I know you said that I found the right people. I feel like the right people came to us. Like, we put out this ad, you know, asking for mindful guides and like people who are, you know, able to create the space that we want to. When I was talking to the teachers, they were kind of surprised. Oh, you're not gonna tell us how to lead the class, or you're not gonna. I'm like, no, I'm here to choose the right people and then employ your style, you know. And so, I think we got lucky like that.
It's great management style. But I think that's what, you know, makes this whole thing work. I mean, as a teacher here, wouldn't you agree that you're allowed to kind of, you know, put your heart into this place?
Total freedom to share the gifts of the practice. Yes, yes.
There's some other
supported.
Yeah.
Completely.
You do some other kinds of classes too.
Yeah, so I teach yin yoga,
Yeah.
right? And also vinyasa.
Right.
And then a fusion class, which we had this morning. I call it Core Strong. So it's a blend of mat Pilates, so from
That
Joseph.
Yes.
I'm not a purist. And then a little bit of yoga. So it's a fun way to work your body in a different way than purely yoga.
Right.
I think it's amazing that Danae can really hold a space in the yin or the restorative in those classes, and then like amp up in the other classes.
That's a great point, Sahar, because
It's
If you're like, you know.
my whole personality does in fact change. I love humor, as I mentioned earlier, but the core strong, yes, I feel like the Leo rising in me does come out, if you know what you know about that.
I
still
love
hold the nurturing
Good energy
quality
classes. Yeah.
of the other classes, yeah.
And you also bring, I mean, such interesting things like the musician, which I was
Yes,
out of town. I didn't
yes.
get a chance to do that, but the musician with
Yeah,
the
it's a collaboration.
sound bath. Yeah, you
Yes.
bring out. Tell us more. You know, these kinds of events are something you really don't see in other studios. You
Yes.
know, that's why it's a live better. And all kinds of things.
See, live better, yes. Yes, and we are going to do that again. We have this wonderful event where I partnered with a local musician, Venus in Arms. She's on Spotify. Go take a look. And she's a local artist right here. And we are going to offer it again. So stay tuned. Yoga with live music.
Yeah.
I do want to add that the way they connected was so amazing because I think Danae is really good at building relationships and she has a lot of warmth to her and so that, do you want to tell?
Sure, it is a fun story. So this place, I only survive as this place survives, right? So like I am all about making sure that we survive because we're in a team together. I believe that. And so we have a cute little bench right here and I sit on the bench, the door's wide open if the weather permits, which is usually the case. And I'm always talking to people. I'm always saying hello to people on the street, trying to encourage them to, at least have a little conversation with me while they're waiting for the bus, whatnot. And this student, Olivia, came in and we spoke very briefly. And I have a little thing I use, consent to touch cards.
Yes.
So I had the cards out and she took her word, which was creativity. And she reflected how she really wanted to add more creativity to her life. And then she sort of slipped in that she was a musician. And we just met, so I didn't want to bombard her with the question. But I said, I have a question for you after class. I wanted her to have class, so that's what she came for, not the question. And so after class, I said, hey, I've partnered with musicians before with yoga. Would you be open to that? Here's my card. And she didn't miss a beat. She was completely open to it. It was really what she wanted to call in. And, this space has some magic about that. Like, people are getting exactly what they need when they're coming here, whether it's complete relaxation and bliss and surrendering, or it's a little bit more of that kick your asana kind of workout.
You get it all here. You really do. You really do.
Yeah, and so we met, we had a coffee date, and we set it up. And thankfully the owners are so open to ideas that I may present and share, and we put it out there, and we have a small cohort, so we hope for more next time.
I think it's important to trust.
Yes.
We trust Danae, so.
And I feel it so much.
And you trust yourself, and that's, and that, I come here, I take the classes, and I learn to trust myself better. I mean, it really is, it really is, yeah, for real. And I just really wanted to put that out into the world and show San Francisco that we have some amazing things out here if you stay long enough.
Right. Outside of the bus door, there are a lot of things happening.
That's right.
Get off that bus.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, we got pizza to the right and Chinese to the left.
There's
The
everything.
ocean 2 blocks away.
I mean, you
It's
can't
a
beat it out
dynamic
here.
situation.
You can't beat it out here. I promise that if you start your journey here or you continue your journey here, check out Studio by Live Better. You will not be disappointed or sad, and you'll definitely be back.
Or let us know if we need to do something better.
You know what? And that's actually one of the really cool things about this place, because you have, when I first started, you were asking me all the time, what do you think about this, that? Yeah. And
Feedback.
Hey.
This is our community.
That's the only way, as a teacher, it's the only way you can improve, and I'm all for it.
We call it a needs assessment in therapy. What do the people need? We need to figure it out.
I know, I love that. Actually, it led me to getting a membership here, to committing to this place monthly, because I do believe that it's worth it. And, our dollars are hard earned these days. So, we have to be, careful we put them. And for me, coming here, taking your classes and a reset helps me to be a better me. And hopefully, getting to the next level in my own life.
And when you're a better you, then the people around you benefit.
Oh, absolutely.
Yes.
It's really true. I like to believe that I am coming into the best version of myself, and yoga, this journey has really, been a great part of it. And meeting you guys and coming to this studio, I am definitely expanding on that. And so I am grateful, and I want everybody else out there to see how beautiful this place is too. You approach people with the whole mind, body, and soul. All 3 aspects of us as human beings. And in the research and what I've seen out there, people who are out there and they are on the floor ground, wherever they are, and they're like this for days, and their bodies are, contorted in ways. For me, it was from exercise. For them, it's from life. When I do have this iHeartSF village, the very first thing that I want the people and the population that I'm working with is to participate in weekly yoga, to help them get their bodies straight so that they can get their mind straight. Regardless if you're living on the street, if your body is not, and your insides, my insides are not working well, and I've learned that firsthand, my brain, however smart it can be, will not work at all. And for people who are on the streets, it's really hard to expect them to get their lives together with just a night on what I call a pop-up tent under the freeway. But that's for another topic. But the point is that, it takes more than one night in a shelter bed to get your body together in order to process how you're just even going to get through the day. And I think it's really important that when dealing with the homeless population, that, we treat them with a hug, the first thing, and help them really get their insides to relax. We do need 4 hugs a day just to get through the
12,
day.
I've heard.
I've heard 30-second long.
There you
Oh,
go.
yes, 3 brothers. We do hug and Shakerasa, by the way. It's purely optional.
Sometimes you hug
I love it. No,
You can hug yourself.
But don't you feel better with a hug and somebody just like
touch
a
is important.
It is. It's
And very
really
secret,
important.
yes.
which is the feel-good love hormone.
Yeah. And
To restore
High
dignity.
fives are fine as well.
what's that?
Sounds like high fives are fine as well.
All of it. But whatever
Fist
to
bump
get
touch.
people to be comfortable with interactions.
Yes.
Because the population that I do want to work with, the reason I'm doing all of this to help them, see that they do also belong in this world, and
Amen.
they can also get their bodies back to, where it was at one point. So yoga is not just good for the mind, but it really is for the body, and that brings the soul together.
And also for society at large, right? Because we have these codes of conduct, which we hardly talk about in Western yoga classes, which are the yamas and the niyamas. You can think like 10 commandments, a little deeper perhaps. These ways of interacting with ourselves and society at large. So to your point about how to treat an unhoused person with kindness and compassion and see them as a human being, not as something less.
Right?
And
Yeah, like with and then the whole thing about meditation and everything. For example, if we go with let's say symptom management, if somebody let's say is feeling depressed or anxious, the conversation has been about, okay, what are your thoughts coming up, right? What are you feeling? But that's more brain stuff. What we are ignoring is the primal self, which is the body, and we start feeling stuff in the body before we start feeling in the brain. So once we know what the signs are, and then we learn to regulate them, we can regulate our body, which then tells the mind, if I can breathe regularly, like I'm having deep diaphragmatic breathing, I'm able to do that, must mean I'm safe. And then the brain comes on.
Body language, they communicate safety through the blood pressure.
Even if you don't know the words.
Even if you don't know the
So
words.
there's a language.
Maybe that's what I've been feeling, because it took a long time for me to know my words, to get the words out, but it took the body first to chill out,
Right? Even, for example, now, when I'm burping our kid,
Yeah.
not as often as...
They have a new baby, by the way.
Our 4-week-old, when we're doing that, sometimes, she'll tell me that she doesn't want me to, pat her back anymore. The arm will go back, right?
Oh.
But if I stop listening to that and I keep doing it, eventually her mind goes, there's no
Okay.
point here. I'm going to resist a little bit, but then maybe I'm not going to resist.
No one's going to listen, so now we have to stop.
What a lesson. Oh, yes.
Never
And so your
understood.
communication gets killed, why am I going to do this when it's not? Because it's I touch this happens. I do this happens. But now I'm doing this and nothing's happening. Okay, I have to stop doing it.
Cause and effect.
Never thought about it like that.
Well, since we've been talking about breathing, do you suppose we should do is tiny little breathing?
Oh, please.
Hey,
Tell us.
so let's make a tall spine if not already.
I love it.
Included.
I love this.
Fine after an hour's sleep at night?
Yeah, but then
How
that's
dare
fine.
you?
And your eyes open or close, whichever makes you comfortable and at ease. You can rest your hands on your thighs to help you feel a little more grounded, steady, stable. And just notice the breath without trying to force or change it. Your inhale and exhale, are you breathing in through the nose or is it in through the mouth? As best you can, breathe in and out through the nose. So brilliantly designed with the cilia and the nostrils to warm and purify the air for us. As you inhale fully, and exhale completely. 3 more, please. One more, just like that. And then you can open your eyes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
You can feel a shift palpable in the rib.
Yeah,
That's the power of the breath.
she's not wrong. She's not wrong. I was nervous this entire time. I even took a class before this, and I'm a little bit, you know, the right words, the right voice changes. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Thank you. I think
Thank
that's
you.
a great way to end it.
Yes.
No,
Namaste if you wish.
thank you.